present my reflections on the connection between international agriculture trade, global food security, and environmental issues through the form of food and handmade arts. As we know, global agriculture trade policy, especially through the WTO's agreement on agriculture, significantly impacts food security and environmental sustainability. While the AOA aimed to promote trade liberalization and integrate agriculture into the global market, it has often reinforced existing inequalities and environmental challenges, particularly for developing nations. Firstly, there still have more challenges in international agricultural trade roles. The AOA was designed to reduce protectionist policies and create a fair trading system. However, the policy structure has predominantly benefited wealthier countries that can afford to heavily subsidize their agricultural sectors, putting developing nations at a disadvantage. This disparity highlights a fundamental imbalance in global trade practices. For example, although global food production is theoretically sufficient to feed the world's population, trade policies and economic inequality often prevent equitable food distribution. The resistance faced by developing countries, such as India's advocacy for special safeguard mechanisms to protect local farmers, underscores the power imbalance within the WTO. These mechanisms are crucial for shielding domestic agriculture from price volatility and import surges, but face opposition from wealthier nations focused on expanding market access. The situation for smallholder farmers is particularly severe. Trade liberalization tends to favor large-scale agribusinesses, marginalizing smaller farmers who are critical for maintaining food security in developing regions. Without targeted policies, the liberalized system risks weakening local food systems and increasing rural poverty. Trade agreements likening specific protections for small producers contribute to instability and inequality. And then I will talk about the multilateral trade system and food security. The idea of trade liberalization, improving food distribution, and economic efficiency does not always hold true for developing countries. Regional trade agreements often push countries towards export-oriented agriculture, emphasizing global markets needs over domestic food security. This shift in focus can be detrimental to the resilience of local food systems. Arts can lead to significant changes in land use, often resulting in deforestation and displacement of smallholder farmers. This not only disrupts livelihoods but also exacerbates rural inequality and food insecurity. The WTO framework permits developed countries to maintain subsidies that protect their agricultural sectors, while limiting developing nations' ability to enact similar protective measures. This policy space gap makes it difficult for poor countries to shield their local agriculture from the pressures of global competition and market fluctuations. True food security requires policy frameworks that prioritize the needs of vulnerable communities. Trade policies focused solely on cash crops for exports reduce the availability of staple crops necessary for local consumption, making developing nations more susceptible to global market volatility. In Part 3, I will discuss the relationship between trade and environmental sustainability. Trade policies, while promoting economic growth, often come with environmental consequences, Without strong environmental regulations, trade can lead to a race to the bottom, where countries lower environmental standards to maintain competitiveness. This is evidence in the link between trade agreements and environmental degradation. Arts often lead to increased deforestation as countries expand agricultural production to meet global market demands. These environmental costs, such as biodiversity loss and carbon emissions, disproportionately impact developing nations, which are already vulnerable to climate change. Although some modern trade agreements include climate provisions, these are often poorly enforced, limiting their ability to drive meaningful change. Without robust sustainability measures, trade policies shift the environmental burden onto less resourced countries, exacerbating global inequality. Integrating environmental protection into trade agreements is essential for aligning economic growth with sustainable development. This would help ensure that the benefits of trade do not come at the expense of environmental health or the welfare of vulnerable populations. The AOA-related trade agreements have reshaped the global agricultural landscape, often reinforcing inequalities and environmental challenges, especially for developing countries. Addressing this issue requires a fundamental shift in trade policy to prioritize sustainability and equity. By incorporating enforceable environmental and social standards into trade agreements, trade can become a tool for fostering resilience, economic growth, and environmental protection. This transformation is essential for building a sustainable global food system that aligns with broader environmental goals and promotes social well-being. Finally, I would like to quote two words that my professor inspired me in class. Be kind. These are not two simple words. Please treat food and the environment as kindly as you treat yourself. We are all part of the world. With love and peace, the world will be beautiful. This is Jietong. Thank you to everyone who have watched this video and wish you all the best.